Hey everyone! Welcome back to Easy English Click, the podcast where learning English feels simple, practical, and real. If you're someone who understands English but struggles to speak it confidently, you are in the right place. This podcast is not about complicated grammar rules or boring textbook lessons. It's about real communication, real improvement, and real confidence. Here at Easy English Click, we focus on small daily habits that create big results. Because speaking fluent English isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. So whether you're listening on your way to work, during a walk, or relaxing at home, take a deep breath and get ready to improve step by step. Let's make English easy. Let's make it practical. And most importantly, let's make it yours. Now let's get started. Have you ever felt like you know English, but when it's time to speak, your mind suddenly goes blank? You understand movies. You understand your teacher. You understand YouTube videos. But when someone asks you a simple question like, "How are you?" your brain starts searching for grammar rules instead of words. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. So many English learners feel stuck. They study for years. They memorize vocabulary. They learn grammar tenses. They pass exams. But when it comes to speaking fluently, they freeze. And today, I want to tell you something very important. Fluency is not about knowing more grammar. Fluency is about building the right habits. Welcome back to Easy English Click. I'm really happy you're here today because this episode might change the way you think about speaking English. Today, we're talking about 5 easy steps to speak fluent English. Now, before you think, easy? Nothing about English is easy. Let me explain something. Fluent doesn't mean perfect. Fluent doesn't mean speaking like a native. Fluent means speaking smoothly, confidently, and without fear. Many learners believe they must reach advanced level before they start speaking confidently. That's not true. In fact, waiting too long is one of the biggest mistakes learners make. Let me ask you something. When children learn their first language, do they start with grammar rules? No. They start by listening, then trying, then making mistakes, then trying again. And nobody laughs at them. Nobody corrects every small mistake. They just keep going. But when we learn English as adults, we become too careful. We want to sound perfect. We don't want to make mistakes. We're afraid people will judge us. So instead of speaking, we stay quiet. And that silence slowly becomes fear. If you feel nervous when speaking English, that's normal. If you translate in your head before speaking, that's normal. If you worry about grammar while talking, that's normal. But here's the good news. Fluency is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained. You don't need expensive courses. You don't need to move to another country. You don't need to be talented in languages. You just need the right strategy and consistency. In this episode, I'm not going to give you complicated theory. I'm not going to talk about advanced grammar structures. Instead, I'll share 5 simple, practical steps that you can start using today. These are habits that real fluent speakers build. And the best part? They are small changes. But small changes done daily create big results. Think about it like going to the gym. If you go once a month for 3 hours, nothing changes. But if you go 20 minutes every day, your body transforms. English works the same way. Fluency is not built in one big moment. It's built in small daily moments. By the end of this episode, you will have a clear plan. You'll know exactly what to practice and how to practice it. No more guessing, no more confusion, no more, "I'll start tomorrow." You'll start today. So if you're ready to stop overthinking and start speaking, stay with me, because the first step might surprise you. Let's begin with step number 1. All right, let's start with step number 1. And this step might feel simple, but it changes everything. Step 1. Start thinking in English. Most English learners translate. You hear a question in English. You translate it into your language. You think of an answer in your language. Then you translate it back into English. That's 4 steps just to say one sentence. Of course you feel slow. Of course you feel nervous. Your brain is doing too much work. Fluent speakers don't translate. They think directly in English. Now you might say, "But how can I think in English? My vocabulary's small." That's okay. You don't start with big ideas. You start small. When you wake up in the morning, say simple thoughts in English. "I'm tired. I need coffee. Today is busy. Where is my phone?" These are basic sentences, but they train your brain. When you're walking outside, describe things in your mind. The weather is nice. That car is fast. I'm late. This daily habit slowly removes translation from your speaking process. At first, it feels strange, maybe even uncomfortable, but after a few weeks, something amazing happens. English thoughts come faster, and that's when fluency begins. Don't wait until your English is perfect to think in English. Thinking in English is what makes it better. Now, once you start thinking in English, we move to step number 2. Step 2. Speak every single day, not once a week. Not only in class, every day. Here's the truth. You cannot become fluent if you don't use your mouth. Many learners listen for years. They read, they watch videos, they study grammar, but they don't speak. Speaking is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it stays weak. But I don't have anyone to practice with. That's okay. You don't need a partner in the beginning. Talk to yourself. Yes, seriously. Stand in front of a mirror and speak for 5 minutes about your day. Record a voice note on your phone. Pretend you're explaining something to a friend. It might feel silly, but it works. When you speak alone, you remove pressure. There's no one judging you, no one correcting you, just you practicing. And here's something important. Do not stop when you make mistakes. Most learners stop speaking the moment they make an error. They panic. They try to fix grammar in the middle of the sentence. That kills fluency. Instead, keep going. Communication is more important than perfection. Let me tell you something powerful. Fluent speakers make mistakes too. The difference? They keep talking. If you speak just 10 minutes every day, that's more than 1 hour per week. More than 50 hours per year. Imagine how much your confidence will grow. Small daily practice. Big long-term result. So today, after listening to this episode, I want you to do 2 things. Think in English for simple daily thoughts. And speak out loud for at least 5 minutes. No excuses. No waiting. Because fluency doesn't come from thinking about speaking. It comes from speaking. Now that you've started training your brain and your mouth, let's move to something that will make your English sound more natural instantly. Now let's move to step number 3, and this is where many learners suddenly notice a big difference in how natural they sound. Step 3 is simple. Learn phrases, not just single words. Most students build vocabulary like this, 1 word at a time. You learn the word make, then decision, then mistake, then homework. But when it's time to speak, your brain tries to build sentences from separate pieces, and that takes time. Native speakers don't build sentences word by word. They use ready-made chunks. For example, we don't think, make plus a plus decision. We just say, make a decision. It's 1 unit in our mind. The same with phrases like, at the end of the day, to be honest, I'm not sure, or it depends on. These are language blocks. When you train your brain to remember full phrases instead of isolated words, your speaking becomes faster and smoother. Think about it like building a house. If someone gives you single bricks, you must slowly build everything from the beginning. But if someone gives you ready-made walls, construction becomes much faster. Phrases are your ready-made walls. So instead of writing down only new words when you study, start collecting useful expressions. When you watch a YouTube video or listen to a podcast, pause and notice how people actually speak. you'll realize they repeat the same patterns again and again. That's good news because it means you don't need thousands of complicated words. You just need common, natural phrases. Here's a simple practice method. Choose 5 useful phrases every week. Write them down. Say them out loud. Create your own sentences with them. Use them in conversation, even if the conversation is with yourself. For example, if your phrase is, "I'm looking forward to," you can say, "I'm looking forward to the weekend," or "I'm looking forward to improving my English." The more you repeat these chunks, the more automatic they become. And when something becomes automatic, that's when fluency starts to feel real. You're no longer searching for every word. The sentence flows because your brain recognizes the pattern. Another important point. Phrases help you sound confident. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, using natural expressions makes you sound more fluent. Imagine 2 learners. One says, "I wait with excitement for holiday." The other says, "I'm really looking forward to the holiday." The second sentence sounds more natural, even if both mean the same thing. The difference is not intelligence, it's exposure to phrases. So from today, change the way you study vocabulary. Stop memorizing long word lists without context. Start building a phrase bank. Treat English like music. You learn rhythm and patterns, not just individual notes. When you combine Step 1, thinking in English, Step 2, speaking daily, and now Step 3, learning phrases, you are building real speaking power. And once your language starts to flow more naturally, the next step will help you polish it even more and bring your pronunciation and confidence to another level. Now let's move to Step 4 and Step 5 because this is where your English starts to feel alive. Step 4 is this: listen like a child, not like a student. Many learners listen to English in a passive way. They play a podcast while cooking. They watch a YouTube video while scrolling on their phone. Their ears hear the sound, but their brain is not fully focused. That kind of listening helps a little, but it won't transform your speaking. Children learn language differently. They listen carefully. They repeat what they hear. They copy the sound, the rhythm, the emotion. That's exactly what you need to do. Choose one short audio clip, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Listen to it once just to understand the meaning. Then listen again and pause after each sentence. Repeat it out loud. Try to copy the pronunciation, the speed, even the tone of voice. This method is called shadowing. At first, you might feel slow. Maybe you can't pronounce everything clearly. That's normal. The goal is not perfection. The goal is training your mouth and ears to work together. When you repeat native speech patterns, your pronunciation improves naturally. Your intonation becomes smoother. And without realizing it, you start using natural sentence rhythm. Fluency is not just about words, it's about flow. And flow comes from listening deeply and repeating consistently. Even 10 minutes of focused listening and repeating each day can dramatically improve your speaking over time. Now finally, we come to Step 5, and honestly, this might be the most important step of all. Build confidence, not perfection. Let me say that again. Build confidence, not perfection. Perfection is slow. Confidence is powerful. Many English learners believe they must speak without any grammar mistakes before they can feel confident. But confidence doesn't come after fluency. Confidence creates fluency. If you are always afraid of making mistakes, your brain goes into stress mode. And when your brain is stressed, it blocks your words. Think about a time when you felt relaxed speaking English, maybe with a close friend or someone supportive. The words came easier, right? That's because you felt safe. So your job is to create that safe feeling inside yourself. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Accept that your accent is part of you. Understand that communication is more important than perfect grammar. Every fluent speaker you admire once spoke broken English. The difference is they didn't quit when it felt uncomfortable. Instead of saying, "My English is bad," say, "My English is improving." Instead of saying, "I'm scared to speak," say that I'm practicing courage. Fluency is not a destination you suddenly arrive at. It's a gradual transformation. One day you'll notice that you're speaking longer sentences. One day you'll realize you didn't translate in your head. One day someone will say, "Wow, your English is really good." And it won't happen because you were perfect. It will happen because you were consistent. So remember these 5 steps. Think in English. Speak every day. Learn phrases, not just words. Listen actively and repeat. Choose confidence over perfection. If you practice these steps regularly, fluency is not a dream. It's a process, and you're already on the path. Now take a deep breath. Your English journey doesn't need to be stressful anymore. It just needs to be consistent. All right. Now, before we finish, let's bring everything together and turn this into action. Because listening to a podcast feels good. It motivates you. It inspires you. But motivation without action changes nothing. So here's what I want you to do. For the next 7 days, don't try to improve everything at once. Just focus on building small daily habits using the 5 steps we talked about. Day 1. Start thinking in English for simple thoughts. From the moment you wake up, describe your morning in English. Keep it basic. Keep it real. Day 2. Record yourself speaking for 5 minutes. Talk about your day, your goals, or even what you ate for dinner. Don't judge your mistakes. Just speak. Day 3. Learn 5 new phrases. Not random words, real expressions. Use them in sentences. Say them out loud until they feel natural. Day 4. Choose a short video or podcast and practice shadowing. Pause. Repeat. Copy the rhythm. Notice how your mouth moves. Day 5. Have one real conversation, even if it's short. It could be online. It could be with a friend. It could be a simple interaction at a store. The goal is to use English in real life. Day 6. Combine everything. Think, speak, use phrases, listen actively. Day 7. Reflect. Ask yourself, do I feel a little more confident? Do I hesitate less? Am I translating less? You don't need to be perfect after 7 days. You just need to feel progress. Because progress builds belief. And belief builds confidence. And confidence builds fluency. Remember, speaking fluent English is not about sounding like someone else. It's about expressing yourself clearly and comfortably. Your accent is not your enemy. Your mistakes are not your enemy. Your fear is the only real obstacle. And fear disappears when you take action again and again. So starting today, stop waiting for the perfect time. Stop waiting until your grammar is perfect. Stop waiting until you know more vocabulary. Start now. Small steps, every day. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who feels stuck in their English journey. And if you're serious about improving, make this podcast part of your weekly routine. This is Easy English Click, and your fluency journey has officially begun. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. I'll see you in the next episode.